high energy. Your love is lifting me. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Today on Man Alive, John Thomson from The Fast Show and Cold Feet is here to discuss alcohol.
If you haven't got a problem, cut down. And if you have got a problem, stop. The best thing I've ever done in my life.
Amazing stories from his career.
Working with Coogan.
John, it's Steve. So, I'll see you in ages.
Nice bloke or disaster?
Difficult. The one thing that I guarantee will improve your life is
And John's blood test results.
O positive. It's a good blood group to be in.
That's good because we didn't test that.
I've been diagnosed with ADHD. Is black maca powder any good for that?
No. John, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Before we press forward, is it true you once played drums on the Jonathan Ross show to Phil Collins?
It's very true, yeah.
That's a unique experience.
It was quite scary, really, because I thought it was going to be a drum battle, and he's really good, Phil. But over
Aren't
the
you
years,
quite pro on the drums as well?
Yeah, I'm pro, yeah. Been playing over 40 years. So I started when I was 11. I'm 57 now. So I had proper lessons, and I do all the rudiments and everything. So they wanted to do something a bit different. And they said, oh, Phil Collins is on the show. And I went, oh, God, really? And they went, will you play drums? I went, with Phil? They went, no, he's not playing. It's a thing called Which Song is Phil's? So I had the headphones on, and I had to play along to a Phil Collins song, and you had to say, yes, it's a Phil song. No, it's not a Phil song. And it was amazing opportunity. But like, not many people know how good I am. And that was a kind of opportunity to show my actual ability, because there was a lot of kind of naysayers and doubters going, oh, yeah, you can play drums. And I'm, well, I can actually. So, yeah, that was a brilliant experience. But there was some complaints about Phil being grumpy. But you know what? He's quite infirm now. And the thing is, we all remember him from the 80s.
Yeah.
But he's got carpal tunnel, so that really affects his playing. And I think he had a bad fall and his back's damaged and he had a stick and everything. But he was still very funny when it was the one-to-one interview with Jonathan. And I said, well, he will be a bit grumpy watching someone, being able to play when you've lost your ability. That's going to hurt,
Yeah.
So I kind of defended it. Some of the backlash about it, saying he was grumpy, I didn't think so. I just thought, I think he would rather have been playing with me.
Yeah, I'll get that. I'll go back a little bit then. So when the Fast Show and Cold Feet all exploded, what was it like behind the scenes?
Well, the first series, it was all very new to me. So I mean, it wasn't new really, but the degree of fame that came with Cold Feet was pretty big. I'd just done Men Behaving Badly, which was the biggest sitcom in the UK at the time. I was Ken, the landlord, in that, because I replaced Les. So a degree of fame. Cold Feet, we shot the pilot, and then it won the Golden and Silver Rose at Montreux, but it took about a year to commission, and then lo and behold, it was like the biggest drama in the UK on a Sunday night. So it was monumental, but it was just the best experience. But I think I was 27 when I started that show. So I was still kind of young and, but I was a bit wild, really, and me and Jimmy used to paint the town red most nights and managed to, come to work and still do the job, but didn't do anything at work. There was no hip flasks or secret kind of trips to the toilet or any of that. So we just we rode it. We rode the sweats and the shakes, and it was we called it PFD some days because it was so bad because we had so little sleep. And PFD stands for praying for death.
Nice.
Yeah. Jimmy one day went, I don't think PFD is a good idea anymore. And I said, damn right, mate. Damn right. But I had such a good time.
How do you then deal with the fact that you're suddenly recognisable by millions of people?
To be honest, the majority of the recognition is so positive, and people are genuinely lovely, and they do love your work, and they say thank you for making me laugh. Or the depression storyline, blokes came up to me and said, because of those episodes of Cold Feet, I went to the doctor to get it. Unbelievable.
That's a really positive thing.
Oh,
right?
I had no idea. Quite a few strangers, men, stopped me in the supermarket and went, I was feeling exactly like that. I've gone and got myself checked out, and I was like that. So. Funnily enough, I got 2 awards for that, and these are the awards that count, because I realised that actor awards are a little bit lovey backslapping, money-making kind of things. I got one off Kaleidoscope and one from Mind for my portrayal of
that's amazing.
That's amazing, and I can't thank them enough for that. It's just so brilliant. But that was brilliant to be able to do that.
And then what about you mentioned obviously having some quite exciting nights out.
Yeah.
And then I think you were quite open, if you're happy talking about the fact that alcohol was a big impact
Massive.
or influence on you at that point.
Massive.
Was it the pressure of fame then that pushed you towards that?
First of all, it was enjoyment, and it was just not knowing. To be honest, it was enjoyment, but with that, it was just have a good time, really. But at the same time, me not having an off switch. So I just wanted it to go on. I was so having a great. Oh, I don't want it to stop and go. I just wanted I didn't want the night to end. I got too excited about it all. And there was a brilliant quote that I heard that was, when I controlled it, I didn't enjoy it. And when I enjoyed it, I couldn't control it. So that sums me up as a drinker. And it got steadily worse. And the problem was, the downward spiral was that the press intrusion became so bad, and like camped outside the house when my ex-wife was pregnant, and just being followed, phone hacked.
Just because you were famous?
Yeah, yeah. But because I was in a massive show, and I like to drink, but I wasn't really a hellraiser. They did describe me as a hellraiser, actually. But I mean, I have been told I do look a bit like Oliver Reed, but you know, I'm not related, I don't think. I was never a hellraiser, but I just like to drink. But they found that one paper said we thought he was an easy target. That was one of their admittances. So, but I had private detectives following me, phone hacked. It was just hell. So what did I do to self-medicate the pain? Drank more, which is that it was just like a honey trap.
Yeah.
It was just.
How do you deal with that constant feeling that you're being watched? Or
awful. And I told people that I said, I think that I'm being followed, and they went, you're paranoid and all that. And I was being followed. And then people I remember sort of a guy talking to me in a pub I'd never met, but he was asking me quite personal questions. I could see he had a wire here.
Like most people in the pub.
Yeah, like, you know, he's wearing a wire. And it's like, I thought, this isn't right, you know. The thing about drama school is, two things they don't teach you. Ambition. They don't teach you to be ambitious, right? They don't teach you that. You can be the best actor in the world, but you've got to have some ambition. There's different kinds of ambition. Basically, you're a brand as well. So your job is you know, those tabloid headlines for me deeply affected my brand. 5 years sober, I was still struggling to get work because I've been tarred with such a heavy brush.
Yeah.
It was so hard for me to say, look, I've stopped, and you know, but because sometimes alcoholism, for a lot of people, it's a very private battle, but for me, it was a public battle.
Yeah.
And when I got recognised, when I've been on News of the World front page again, I used to see people recognise me in the supermarket, and I wasn't sure whether it was for my infamy of all the terrible things that have been written about me, or my genuinely good body of work. So that's hard.
Yeah, and you never know.
No. Yeah. So what comes with fame is you've got to be really prepared for it if they go for you.
Was there a defining sort of moment that made you think, right, I need to stop this? Like, why?
Yeah, 2006, it was Christmas. I'd been to see a pantomime. I didn't particularly enjoy it. And we, just as a Christmas treat, we booked her a room at a hotel in Manchester, the Beetham Tower, the really high, it was the Hilton. So it was the tallest building in Manchester. So I was in a room there. And I just kind of like, I was just left to my own devices because I was drinking so much. But so what I was doing, I was drinking the minibar, then falling asleep a bit, then going out, then drinking in bars, coming back, and lo and behold, it's like I'd rubbed a magic lamp. The genie had refilled the minibar. But it's so expensive way of drinking, you know, it's ridiculous. One thing I'd always do, and I don't know how I did this, I always left the red wine because it just felt, it would give me such an awful feeling, you know, with the tannins and that was kind of like, it wasn't, something inside me. I mean, it didn't make me any less.
So the whiskey's fine, but I'm not touching red wine.
But I'm not having the red.
Yeah.
Because it'll make me feel worse. So I seem to be able to manage that. But anyway, it was like a 2-day, but going on for 3-day bender. And I just went, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Just looking out the window, could see all Manchester. It was pouring down. Surprise, surprise. I just thought, nah, this is it. I've had it, and that's it. I give up. I did go to rehab originally, and I got sober for 6 months, and then I fell off the wagon, and then I worked with an actor called Michael Nardini on Midsummer Murders, and he went, "Do you want to come down the bar tonight? There's lockdown." It was working with all masks on and everything. He went, the bar's open, you know, socially distanced is all right, you know, be all right. And I went, I'd love to, Michael, but I don't. And he went, all right. He said, no, you don't drink. I went, no. And we got a problem with it. I went, yeah. So funny enough, I went to rehab in Scotland. He went, where'd you go? I went, Castle Craig. He went, no way, Alcatraz. And that's what they call it in Scotland. Alcatraz. And
no one
tough.
escapes.
I did 6 weeks in there, but I got the tools. But then I started drinking again for my wedding and my stag do. I just thought, I can't stay sober for this. So that was 2005, May. And then the following year, it got bad again. I wasn't too bad. And then that Christmas I went, because it was Christmas. And 29th of December, 2006, I just went, no, that's it. And I shared my sobriety birthday with Sir Anthony Hopkins. He's 29th of December as well. But he's like 45 years. But he's my favourite actor, and he's such an inspiration to me.
Why do you think funny people seem to have this problem with addiction or anxiety or self-doubt?
One of the problems with work, particularly comics, working live, is that if you have a really good gig, the euphoria you get from the audience, you know, that buzz, that high, you want it to continue, or sometimes there's two kind of ways of this. So cocaine, it mimics the cocaine high is exactly the same as the performance euphoria, apparently. So if you see on an ECG, they completely match. The highs are the same. So there's two schools of thought regarding addiction post gig. So there's the kind of keep the feeling going, cocaine. Yeah. And then just the drink with the cocaine, take the edge off it, or you're so buzzed up, the drink to take you down so you can sleep, you know. But you look at people like Elvis, it was that so, you know, because I mean the way Elvis, you know, those are, you know, performing in big arenas and that must be something. I mean, the Fast Show tour was some pretty big ones there, but I think that thing is you want to keep the high going, or you want to take the high away. And I think that's one of the things, particularly with comedians, I think it's that calming kind of thing. But also, you've got to remember that in the entertainment industry, a lot of these things, there's a lot of free alcohol around. There's a lot of parties, events where it's free. And, you know, you can capitalize on that, really.
But do you think since stopping alcohol, then your creativity or like what you bring to work is better? Is it different?
Yeah, it's better.
Because you're present, because you can.
Yes, because engaged. I've got clarity of mind.
Yeah.
Do
you think this is something more men should be talking about? Yeah. Alcoholism, addiction. I do, really. I think it's just like, the problem is this country, we're terrible at it. It's a terrible, we abuse it. Do you know what I mean? I watched a thing with my daughter last night about when they created Euro Disney, and the French went mad because they didn't serve wine because it's part of their culture. The thing is that there's some sort of sophistication in Europe about the drinking, but it's the World Cup at the moment, and imagine, you know, there was some kind of quote that in America, when the England game was, they sold 45,000 pints and ran out of beer in a bar, one bar. The 45,000 pints in a bar.
Yeah. They drank it dry. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But I think football's a bit of an excuse because, like, you know, it's like wives go, "Where are you going?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a big game tonight, Japan, Uruguay." And the women are supposed to believe that. No, it's just nothing. It's just an excuse for lager or whatever.
Well,
you have.
Uruguay really have come on recently.
Have they? Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't follow the beautiful game.
Should we talk about your blood test results?
Yes, definitely. Before I came on, I did some research about what O positive is, and it's a good blood group to be in.
That's good because we didn't test that. Great.
Okay.
So, if you could rate your health now, say out of 10, 10's best you've ever been.
Yeah.
Where would you put yourself?
8.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I'd say 8. Bit chubby, little bit. Always have been. Always struggled with my weight. But that's it. But I'm working on that.
Sugar-free Lipton iced tea.
Absolutely.
Other brands are available.
Yeah, other brands are a little.
So when was the last time you started to look into your health or your health data?
So I used to have a blanket blood test, a full screening with Blue Crest, part of my insurance. So I used to do that. And it was always, my cholesterol always used to come up a little bit borderline, but on the whole, pretty good. So the only reason I've been hospitalized in the last, so I'm sober 20 years this Christmas. The only time I've been hospitalised was a kidney stone in 2018, and it floored me because it was so painful, and I didn't know what I'd actually thought one of the bed springs had gone, and it gone into me. It was that, you know, like I've been stabbed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went like that because I thought I was waiting for the blood, and I went, this is really weird. I feel like I've been stabbed, and I had it, and then it didn't work out the first time, so I had to have 2 procedures to get rid of it. And then one of the things when I stopped drinking was I used to drink quite a lot of. I don't like milk because of school milk. It's a long story, but the school milk was sour, and I've never had it since.
It's all right.
So I have coffee black.
Okay.
And I love double espressos with sweetener. So that's my thing. But I used to drink, when I stopped drinking at first, I used to really cane the coffee. And what it does, it dehydrates you, but I wouldn't compensate with water.
Right.
And I think that was one of the things that led to the kidney stone. So with the exception of that, in 2018, I've not been...
Wasn't there the diagnosis of pre-diabetes?
Correct. Yes, my doctor rang me. It was because of the pandemic. So I am completely stone cold sober, but everyone else is getting absolutely leathered. And I'm like, what can I have? And I went, chocolate. So yeah.
Did you have to rub your hands like that? It makes it really creepy.
Chocolate. So yeah, my house was basically Willy Wonka's, and I just kind of feasted on it. But it was great. But yeah, I got pre-diabetes flag. And I went, so that was a wake up.
Okay.
So the wake up from the kidney stone, more water, and the flag of that is less sugar.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of blood tests to go through, obviously. I'll give you the salient points, because otherwise we could be here for a long time. But essentially, it looks like you have done a lot of work to improve your health.
Great.
So if we focus just on diabetes for a sec,
yeah.
So I know you're familiar with this, but for the benefit of the audience group, HbA1c is an average measure of blood glucose over a 3-month period, and anything less than 48 or less is not diabetic. Anything less than 42 or less isn't even pre-diabetes. Yours is an impressive 37. So you're well within that normal range.
Excellent.
And your insulin sensitivity, which is another indicator which we can use as an advanced marker of this, is really good.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, all those sugar-free drinks are really
that's good.
Benefiting you in that sense. I mean, that's really positive. Your core health is good. Your immune system's normal. Clotting's okay. You're not anemic. We do a thing called HSCRP. Now, it's a bit contentious, but HSCRP stands for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. Now, all it does is measure inflammatory processes. It doesn't tell you what it is. But supposing you've got a cough or cold, it'll come back at 8 or 9. Chest infection, 30. If you get really sick, the number just goes up and up. You have a heart attack, 300, something like that. Yours is 0.3.
Okay.
So it's barely measurable, which means that from an inflammatory perspective, and you can still have other stuff, but this is good, can't really find much. So
that's fantastic.
I mean, one thing I was kind of hoping I could have a go at you about might be your liver. Maybe it's done some damage over the years or something. All your liver enzymes are perfectly within the normal range. And we do a kind of an estimated fibrosis score based off all of those. Bear in mind, anything up to sort of, I don't know, less than 1.5, 1.45 is classed as a normal range. Yours is 1. I mean, it's really good, because it suggests that all these efforts you've been making from an otherwise perhaps less than ideal lifestyle are really where they should be. Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
Great. This is great news.
It is good, but it's a bit boring. I was hoping to find some stuff I could have a go at you about. I'm joking. 97% of our viewers and listeners aren't subscribed or following the show. Whether you listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, watching on YouTube, or anywhere. If you can press the subscribe or follow button, it'll help us to have more meaningful conversations, revealing blood test results and learning from the best experts on health and fitness in the world. Cholesterol's actually good as well.
Oh, is it good now?
Your total cholesterol is 4.9. Right. You want it to be less than 5, but obviously it's not just your total cholesterol we worry about. We worry about things like your LDL, which is your bad fat. That needs to be less than 3. 2.9.
Oh, great.
Again, I'm just really running out of stuff to nag you about. Even we looked at your sex hormones and we looked at your testosterone, and testosterone tends to drop with age. 1 to 2% a year over the age of 30. So, I'd expect you to be maybe high teens or something. You're 57 now?
Yes, 57.
And your testosterone was an impressive 14.5.
And
it's okay.
That's okay.
It's all right.
Waning.
It's what that's a great way of putting it.
It's waning.
So there's some really interesting data around diabetes and pre-diabetes. And a big study 2 years ago called the T4DM study. And it looked at thousands of people with type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. And it showed that if these men had testosterone levels of up to 15 or less and were symptomatic of low testosterone, so low energy, mental health changes, low sex drive, et cetera, and you gave them testosterone replacement, there's a 40% relative reduction in their diabetes numbers.
Really?
So 40%. Now, obviously, you don't fall in that pre-diabetes category anymore,
No.
but it shows that everything is so closely linked and how that testosterone does impact other parts of your body and vice versa. And probably those efforts you've been making to stay healthier, although waning, have probably pushed up your testosterone.
So what's the marker for the testosterone between?
So in a pre-diabetic,
Yeah.
it's 15 or less would be classed as abnormal.
Yeah.
14 point something, but effectively 15 or less would be abnormal. And ideally, the optimal range is 15 to 30 for a fit, healthy guy, age irrelevant.
Yeah.
Some of the guidelines will say 12 to 30, but really optimal, as per BSSM guidance, which is the British Society of Sexual Medicine, they would say 15 to 30 is your optimal. So you may be at the lower end, and it might be just as...
Is the highest being 30?
The highest has been 30,
Yeah.
yeah. And you want it to be better. And the
Yeah,
mortality data is that if you keep it in the 20s, you do better in terms, well, not 20s, but in that normal range,
Okay.
you do better in terms of long-term life outcomes. So it might be something to look at. But on the other hand, this might actually be that you're doing all these healthy things and it might actually continue to go up a little bit over time. We'd wait and see, I guess. But overall, I have to say, not bad stuff. And lastly, of course, your prostate, which you asked about. And PSA is an enzyme that you, or protein that released from your prostate. And as age occurs, you tend to release more of it because your prostate gets bigger, and we can't really stop that. But really, anything at 57, I'd accept, well, I don't know, less than 3.5 for the NHS cutoff, 1.4. So again, really low. I should caveat that PSA by itself is not an accredited national screening tool.
Okay.
We have to be really careful about that. But serial measures are useful. And if you've got a level that's 1.45 or 1.1 or whatever, anything low effectively is meaning that your odds of having cancer are low, obviously.
You see, with the O positive, they said the positives are that the blood flows really well. So you've got less chance of dementia and you've got less chance of cardio problems. But the downside is if you get really got a bad wound, you bleed out very quickly because your blood's a bit thinner.
Okay.
And one thing that I've always said is mosquitoes adore me, and O positive is the go-to champagne for a mosquito. So when everyone else is like, why are you so many bites? And I go, you tell me. And O positive is the number one go-to for mosquitoes.
So despite there's an irony in the fact that you have no alcohol in your blood, but you have champagne blood for mosquitoes.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. Look, I think overall, do you watch Bake Off?
I do watch it, yeah.
I'll do you a Paul handshake because I think your results are generally very good.
I'm
work that you've made.
I'm really pleased to have put in the work and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, it's doing well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want your testosterone still a little bit better.
Yeah,
but it's good. It's good. It's a good start.
Well, but is black maca powder any good for that?
No.
No.
Okay.
I need to know what the new age what's good in the quackery and what's
well,
poor.
I think if we're referring to any of it as quackery, I'm going to say it's not an area that I'm focusing on.
Okay.
I'd love to keep answering questions from your comments in episodes. So comment below your thoughts on this episode or general health topics you'd love for me to address. I read every single one. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how comedy has changed maybe since when you started?
The beauty of the Fast Show was, and it's the genius of Paul and Charlie, is that we didn't want to make it pop cultural in the fact that it's timeless. So we didn't really address too many things that were vogue at the time because that's what dates it really, really badly. The essence of the Fast Show is it came from within the character. And we all know characters like that. And it stood the test of time and it's sort of being rediscovered. So it's great to be part of a show that's quite old now that still is relevant. You know, that's a big worry for any performer is relevance, really.
Yeah.
You don't want to
But you've done decades of this now.
I've been in the business. I started when I was 18. So next year, 40 years. I've been doing this 40 years next year. 40 years, man and boy. I don't know why they say man and boy. Well, shouldn't it be in the order of the lineage? So it should be boy and man, really.
Yeah,
but I've never understood that.
I would have thought you'd know that.
There's 40 years, boy and man. And
why do you think some people aren't able to maintain that longevity that you've done? Because you literally have done.
You've got to trust in your abilities and trust in your talent. I realised that acting, and it is at the moment, is a very, very precarious, and it's getting harder and harder. It's such a precarious profession. I needed to have plenty of strings onto my bow that I could fall back on. So I'm a professional drummer. I am an impressionist. I'm a stand-up comedian. I write. I dabble in magic, not black. I love magic and I love the spectacle of it, but I don't claim to be a magician, but I can do a few things, but I do not claim to be a magician, but I just love the world. So there's a lot of things I can do on the side that I can do if I'm not getting any acting work, you know. My voice is alone as voiceovers and narratives for like Police Interceptors, Bargain Loving Brits, loads of documentaries. Yeah, it's premeditated, you know.
What would we need to do to get you into black magic, I wonder?
Get me back into black magic.
That'd be interesting.
Comedy black magic.
Comedy black magic.
There's a genre all itself, isn't it? Let's start it.
Because I guess part of that is you worked with also a lot of other brilliant comedians.
Yeah, loads. Amazing people.
What are the sort of standout experiences for that?
Well, she had a dressing room with Spike Milligan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was amazing. I've worked with so many amazing people over the years. I mean, recently, the Fast Show, to perform at the Palladium and sell it out and get standing ovations most nights, that's the dream come true, because that's the home of British variety, really.
Yeah.
And that theatre itself is very strange, because when you're on stage, it looks very small, but when you're on the outside looking down, it's vast. And it's a really unusual kind of optical illusion about the theatre. So recently, to do that, to perform at the Palladium and sell it out and we had some amazing people come to see that show.
Just very briefly, I do just also want to touch on your work with Coogan.
Yes, of course.
Some of the Partridge
We've done some great stuff together.
Oh, well, it's iconic, really, isn't it? And we obviously joke about having a Cheeky Monkey series, but working with Coogan, nice bloke or disaster?
Oh, Steve, difficult, you know. He's a...
But really?
Well, no. So I've been diagnosed with ADHD, right?
Yeah.
So's Kev Bishop, or does Steve. I can't do as well as Kev. But I think Kevin left me a voice note before he unleashed it on the world. And I was John, it's Steve. So I'll see you in ages. And I was like, why is he leaving me a message on Kev's phone? Because I was so convinced it was him. And it was like unbelievable. And I went, and then he went, yeah, oh, it's Kev. And I went, oh, it's the best impression I've ever heard of anybody. It's so nuanced and accurate. When I see Kevin doing it, it looks like he's dubbed. I can't believe that's that person I've known for 30 odd years. His voice is coming out as something. It's like he's possessed. Anyway, I was going to send a voice note back, and I just wrote, I can't follow that. I cannot follow that. So he was living with Steve. I've noticed now, because of the ADHD podcast, that in mimics, we've all got it. So as Rory Bremner's got it, Kevin Bishop, I've got it, Peter Serafinovich. It's like the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So he gives you ADHD, but he makes you a brilliant impressionist.
Yeah.
Steve is a brilliant impressionist, and his autobiography is called Easily Distracted. Go figure. You know what I mean? I know he is. I know he is.
Does he know he is?
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he does.
Well, when he watches this, that'll be a revelation.
I think it's only a matter of time, but he might not want to get checked.
Sure.
But we work brilliantly together and we write brilliantly together. So when we wrote the Edinburgh show together, we were just crying, laughing. Some of the stuff we put into that was amazing. But one of the things I'm most proud of in my career is the Cheeky Monkey appearance with Joe Beasley and Cheeky Monkey on Alan Partridge. So what we did was this. So the beauty of it was I'm wearing a wig, I've got a mustache on, and I'm not that well known, which is a massive bonus. So you couldn't tell it was me. I wasn't a household name. And they come on, and a lot of people thought Alan Partridge was real. So parents would go, I don't like Alan Partridge. He's very rude to the guests on his chat show. And I went, well, it's the character. It's best just not saying anything. Let him believe Alan Partridge is a real chat show host. So all the guests they'd have on. So anyone that thought Alan Partridge was real thought the guests were real. So he came on. But the beauty of it is the setup. And he went, our whole season's holiday, and I go, laugh like a drain. And he gives me this massive... This guy's amazing, and I promised I'd put him on my show when I went to TV. And absolutely terrible. But the beauty of it was, I could see it. Post-pandemic now, the studio audiences are like sometimes non-existent or not that really a thing these days. So we had a full audience at the BBC, and I could see the audience go as I started to go, and they and getting it all wrong. I could see people in the audience going. I could actually lip read people going.
But that's good.
Yeah, and it made me worse. And it got worse and worse. And like, I'm the monkey's Velcro paw. I can't fasten it, so I just hold it here at the time.
And this is all improv.
It's all, the whole thing's improvised. Yeah. And then when Steve says to me, your act is really poor. It's just the worst. It's the gentleness of the cruelty. Your act is really poor. Do yourself a favour, leave. And I just, he could have said, this is shit, it wouldn't work. But that your act is really poor.
Look, as people in our late teens at this time and with no girlfriend, I think the number of Cheeky Monkey soft toys that sold as a result,
I've got the original.
Massive.
He's 27 years old. No, he's older now. My God, I think he's 30. He's 30. He must be.
Yeah, he's got to be older. I was 20. Shouldn't be.
He's about 30 years old, and I've got the original.
Yeah, let's say 30. Makes me sound less nerdy.
No, he's 30 at least. At least.
Right. I think we're going to move to the next segment, which is the highest spend we've got on this show, called the Wheel of Health.
The Wheel.
Thanks to your amazing support, we are really starting to make a huge impact on men's health. Please share this episode so we can keep growing. Thank you. All right. Well, welcome to the Wheel of Health.
Aha!
Before you can see the no expense spared device we have that measures different aspects of your health journey. We get you to flick said health wheel, and depending what it lands on, I will ask you a question relating to that. Hopefully I can think of something fast enough.
Right, okay.
Go for it.
Oh, it's in fitness,
I think it's in fitness.
Yeah.
Worst fitness trend that you've tried doing?
What's on the bikes with the disco lights? What's that thing? You know that? What's it called? What? Spinning.
Hate spinning.
It. Oh my God. The seats. They're not made for men.
No, there's a lot of uncomfortable in the prostate
I don't understand bicycle seats at all. Even gel seats with padded. I'm not bragging here, but I'm even padded cycling shorts and a gel seat hurt.
I mean, I agree completely.
Yeah, I don't like the spinning thing. I tried it and I went, no. I used to like classes at the gym. I used to like body pump. That was great with the weights. I used to really like that. But no, spinning. Oh.
Okay. No. What's your current workout fitness routine you do now? You mentioned
calisthenics and a chair workout, which is a little bit for me. It seems a little bit old for I mean, it's for these workouts are for 50 plus, so you don't do any damage. So I do feel that the chair things are all kind of these kind of things, and I just feel. But you can change it up.
Yeah. There's
different ones, but there was one with dumbbells, which I quite like because I do like having upper body strength. So. That app has been, I do procrastinate to get to it, but I've got a mat I put down every day, put the chair down. And the thing is, the beauty of it is I mirror it to the telly in the lounge and I just get on with it. And it motivates me to do it.
And the key is you're doing something every day, right?
Every day.
I think that's the thing. So many blokes are kind of like, where do I start? What do I do? Do I have to be in the gym? Have I got to run or something? Honestly, the evidence around things like testosterone production, for example, is it doesn't really matter what you do. It's just got to be intense enough that it makes you either sweaty or your heart races or your muscles are sore or something so that you know you've done that thing. And the national guidance is like, 45 minutes, 3 times a week? It's not that much to push your levels up to be healthier.
I thought it was 20 minutes, 3 times a week. And I'm doing this heat, I'll put a fan down though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because gyms are air conditioned. That's the beauty of a gym, But I think that's a bit dangerous because you don't know how far you're pushing sometimes, I mean, it's a clear
if you
sign.
can't get up or there's a hospital visit involved, it's probably too far.
Yeah.
Other than that, pretty good. Do you want to spin one more?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so exciting the first time just watching it go around.
Flipping.
Oh, stress.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the one thing now that stresses you that didn't back in the day?
So when I drank, my punctuality wasn't great. So I wanted to make up for that in spades. Now I'm sober. So what sends me clean under, and it started this morning, is when infrastructure, public transport goes wrong and I've got a plan to be somewhere at a certain time and I am late through no fault of my own, when knowing how I felt in the past, and like people go, you know, turning up late. So that for me, the idea of delays, breakdowns, tube strikes. I mean, we had a cold feet. We went to some posh dinner at the Guildhall in London, and I looked at the Transport for London app, and it went, and the entire thing was shut. And I went, how do I get to Guildhall from Euston? These brilliant blokes were here. And he went, yeah, mate. And he went, there's something at King's Cross, what was it, something? And they got me there because it was massive bags as well. But this morning, there was a lot of closures this morning, and thankfully the apps like City Mapper, I got here early.
Yeah.
But it sends me under, because I think I feel awful if I'm late. The people understand, but I was late for different reasons in the past.
I mean, I think stress is something that, obviously we can't avoid it in society.
It's killer though.
And it is. The problem we have is that you need stress, and you want a bit of stress to keep your cortisol levels up, to keep your body functioning. But from an evolutionary perspective, I guess you'd have a peak and a trough of stress. You might get a saber-toothed tiger trying to attack you, so you'd have a stress point, and you'd fight the tiger or leg it. It's a terrible example, but you know what I mean. And then you'd run away and you'd recover the next day, and you'd have no stress. Problem with society now, particularly with men, is that we live in a kind of slow bubble of constant stress. There's always emails, there's always messages, social media, infrastructure. There's always little things that chip away. And when you do that, that's when your heart risk goes up. That's when your blood pressure goes up, your testosterone drops. And so we need to try and think about getting ways that we each can individually reduce the chronic level to just try and go peak and trough again, because that's fine. You've just got to get rid of the constant stress.
Yeah, I see this as a bit of a necessary evil now. I will only
as in mobiles.
Yeah, just I like putting it aside now.
Yeah,
but I'm very fortunate as a Generation X to have not really been through that and know. One thing I wish I would read more. I do love to read, and I kind of don't. And I wish I need to find a way of, just like I have with everything else, is get back into it.
That's quite cathartic though, isn't it? And it's almost meditation based, because it allows you to go away from the rest of your thoughts, and your mind becomes involved in the book.
It's amazing when you see people reading on holiday in extreme heat, and they look like the most unlikely people who would read as well. And I think, how are you doing this? How are you zoning out in this heat and sunbathing and reading a book? Unless it's subterfuge and it's just
behind it there's like
that.
Yeah.
But I'm always in great admiration of people who can read in extreme heat on holiday. It's just amazing. But I do regret that. But yeah, it's the whole distraction of social media. I'm not really of that generation. I'll have a look at it, but I don't post very much anymore because I don't feel I need that validation.
No, I get
That's
that.
what it is.
And then lastly,
yes,
because you're very open about this now, your ADHD diagnosis last year.
Yeah. It's not changed anything, because I always knew I was different, but it was comments like my eldest daughter went, Dad, stop interrupting people when they're talking. You do it a lot. And I went, do I? And she went, yeah, you do quite a lot. What's going on? And she went, there's something going on here. And I went, well, I said, so what it is there's two versions to this. One, if I think something that's directly relatable to what they're saying, I think, I've got an anecdote similar about that. And I'll go, it's in case I forget it. But the other thing is, the person is so deeply dull, I really need to shut them down and tell them say something funny and save the situation, really. Or third one is, I'll allow them to finish their anecdote that is literally, get me out. And what I'll do is, I'll kind of help them and put a payoff for them at the end. Do you see what I mean?
So they don't crash and burn.
Yeah. So thing is though, there's one thing I do every day, but I seem to manage when I'm not at home. But when I'm at home, I make a list every day of things to do. And in that margin is duo workout. And so sometimes it's one workout, sometimes it's two. So to put a tick through duo for my Italian or my Spanish, and I put 2 ticks or 1 tick through the workout. That's the margin. And then everything else is the things to do. one rule of thumb I have since the pandemic is I always have to leave the house no matter what the weather. So I've found for mental health, don't spend a whole day, don't spend 24 hours in your house. Always, if it's nice, have a walk. Because of the pandemic, that was the joy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the one, we can get out, we can walk.
Yeah.
So from that, I've made sure that if the weather's nice, I mean, the people say, there's no such thing as bad weather, it's just the right clothing, But there's some,
I don't know.
I live in Manchester, come on. So I'll go in the car. Just get out, get out and about. But it's really good for your mental health, not just to stay in.
One of the most important things I've learned being a doctor for over 20 years, specializing in men's health, is that knowing what your testosterone level is probably one of the best indicators of what your current and future health could be. Man Alive is brought to you by Voy. They are offering a 20% discount on a testosterone blood test to all of our listeners. So all you need to do is click on the link in the description below and make sure you use the code MANALIVE. When you got your diagnosis, did it feel like a click? Like, that makes sense now?
Kind of, yeah. But the thing is, I did feel a bit kind of like,
like a letdown?
No, I didn't really. Actually, it was a tough time at the time. It was really a couple of bereavements and it was all a bit, so I'd done the test and then it wasn't a good time for me. It came at a bad time, the diagnosis. I remember I was doing the prison drama and I got it on my phone and I went, oh my God, really? 96 out of 100, okay. But one thing they didn't talk about on the ADHD podcast is the process that I went through to do the testing. So it was one-to-one with a psychiatrist, but then there's like an actual test with a computer screen. So I went to my desk, which looks out of a window, and it went like that. It went, so I found the thing, clicked the link, and it went, find a space away from a window. And I went, all right. So I moved the computer away, and it went, it's like a sketch. It went, with a chair with no armrests. And I went, right. So I got a chair with no armrests and put it, and so I had to be facing a wall with a chair with no armrests. And what it was like a different coloured shapes in orange and blue, and you had to hit the space bar when it said blue or orange circles, and it was just this, when it said what to click, just hit the space bar like that. Well, at first, because I love doing IQ tests and I fare really well at them, I thought, it'd be like that. Great, I should do all right. And it was the same thing, just going, it must have been 15 minutes. I started to feel I was losing my...
And there's your diagnosis.
And there it is.
Fine.
I was just going, what? Just felt awful.
But do you think it explained behaviours, or did you have specific behaviours over the last decade that you went, that's it?
When I looked at the list of symptoms of ADHD, the one that stood out for me is I can't stand silence. I hate it, really. I mean, there are certain times when I can tolerate it. Yeah. But when there comes a point where I've got to have a radio on, I've got to have headphones in. It's deafening for me, silence. And that one thing really, really hit home. There's quite a few things that tell, and there's other things that don't. I think I'm probably a bit OCD as well, because I like things ordered, but I still have a bit of clutter at home just to make sure I don't have it. Yeah.
Do you think there are things that get missed in older men with ADHD?
I think it's so common. I don't think there is a normal. You can't say normality. Yeah. There is define normal. Define it. This spectrum, it's good because now kids who have got issues, wherever they are on the spectrum, there's sympathy for them at school and that they're supported. I was just a naughty boy and I received corporal punishment for it. And I was excluded from the class. And I just when I told the psychiatrist, it was really upset for my situation, but I just said, well, things have changed, So if kids have got it genuinely, because I do worry now about this bandwagon that people, mental health week and that, people seem desperate to be part of a gang with some sort of problem without diagnosis. It really worries me that wouldn't you be better joining the Girl Guides or the Cubs? Do you know what I mean? It just be part of something that's not, it's a very strange world we live in. And like I've always said, I find that the self-diagnosed autists, ADHDers, you know, are spoiling it for the people who've got it. There's no way I would have talked about, I think I've got ADHD. Now I know I've got it, I can freely talk about it and my experience of it.
Because you're diagnosed properly.
I am.
So for you, it was a relief?
It was a relief. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes, it was a huge relief. But it was like, that's why I'm like I am.
So then the subsequent question would be, is if you have men, or there are men listening to this, that think, oh, I'm like that guy. I do. What would you tell them to do?
Well, the thing is, though, I was fortunate to be in a position to pay for my diagnosis, and it's not cheap at the time. And I know that the waiting list on NHS for diagnosis is very long.
Yeah.
But I think if you do think you've got that, get referred and get on the waiting list. That's what I would say. You know, unfortunately, private sector, you will get fast tracked, but not everyone's in that position.
Sure.
So that's the thing. I think if you have any doubts, and I think for me, it was peace of mind to know what made me tick. But I think there are people who have it so severely, it's affecting their lives. And I think if it becomes a burden to you, where you think you've got an issue that you think's on the spectrum of some sort, definitely get referred. And you know, and maybe if it is affecting your daily lives, maybe you will get fast tracked, because it's obviously, you know, affecting you.
I completely agree. I think for me, the thing is, if you think you've got symptoms, you get a proper diagnosis.
Yeah, get a proper
whether
diagnosis.
that's NHS or private.
Yeah.
But it's not the guessing. That's what
it's easy to go to triage and wait a few hours with a you know, but this is a mental health problem. And the thing is, the backlog post-pandemic with everything, as you know, is a nightmare. But I do think that if you really think you've have an issue with it, get yourself seen.
Last few questions.
Yeah.
What do you see your health goals being in the next 10, 20, 30 years?
Well, I'm doing all right at the moment. So sticking to the plan. I still could do to drink a bit more water. Because I remember I wasn't of the generation where water was pushed on you. If the only time, the school drinking fountain, it was only ever used after PE, and there was a massive queue. And you just go, that was it. Just open your mouth and go. But like, I remember there were these like battered, like, looked like medieval pewter jugs that were put out at lunchtime with the dreadful school dinners we had, and with the little sort of glasses. And I don't remember anyone really partaking. You know, we were a generation of squash and sweets and terrible fillings, and you know, it's kind of like if you've grown up with that, you really have to change your ways. It's very hard to avoid processed food. Yeah, very, very hard, because most of it is processed. If you lived the cost of pure organic was just, it's unattainable. Yeah, really.
It doesn't facilitate good, healthy living, generally, society at present. No. But I appreciate that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. I eat less meat. I eat less dairy. I mean, I don't, since I was a kid, I've not had, in its raw state, so milk, fresh cream and butter, I've not had since I was about 5. But I'll have it mixed into sauces because I love cooking. But like as a primary product, those 3 things I've cut out. And I had one of those hair tests, you know, for allergies, and it said said dairy. So I wonder if my body's kind of.
Oh, don't be started on that test. Oh, we can discuss that later.
Right, okay.
I'm not endorsing.
But I'm having kefir, so that's yogurt.
That's good.
I love yogurt. I love cheese, so I've got to get my calcium from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Just not a hair test for lactose. Is there one thing maybe from this conversation that you might take away or do differently about your health or lifestyle?
Well, I've got to get my testosterone up, haven't I? So
that's the best answer.
That's the thing. I've got to get that. Yeah, but I do know about testosterone boosting foods. I do know what some of them are. They're like high iron, broccoli and pulses and nuts, and
certainly won't do any harm. Yeah. Yeah, if you've got zinc and magnesium and vitamin D in those, they're all really good. Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, generally your blood's working, as I say, but if we can.
But I'm at the halfway mark.
Yeah,
that's, I mean, and I'm at 57, I'm at the halfway mark, literally. I mean, I don't think I'll live to 114, but it'd be nice.
Well,
would it?
We'll come back when you're like 95. We'll do it again.
Let's see. Well, I'll see. We will have a revisit.
What's one thing from your experiences that you think men could start doing today to improve themselves?
Drink less. Drink less. It's poison. It's like carcinogenic as well. I saw another podcast where it went, the worst 3 things you can have, and I've stopped eating it. It's salami, the nitrates in that. This a processed salami is is like carcinogenic. So I've stopped that. I love deli cuts. I love cold cuts, but some of them, particularly salami, really carcinogenic. There's some Chinese dried fish that I didn't have anyway. That's carcinogenic. Right. But the number one carcinogenic thing that is totally accessible to everyone is alcohol. And from these tests today, and the fact that I've not drunk for 20 years, well, it's working wonders. And the writing's on the wall. And I mean, it's all right. I feel sorry for men. I feel sorry for men growing up in this country, because the one thing that'll make you fall off the wagon if you're an ex-drinker is peer pressure, you know, and you got to change your lifestyle. And it's very hard when you got mates going, come on, you can just have one, all that. The one thing that I guarantee will improve your life is if you haven't got a problem, cut down, and if you have got a problem, stop completely, because it's paid me. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Best thing.
I think that's great advice. John, thanks so much for coming on Man
Thank you.
Alive. You've been a brilliant guest.
Thanks very much.
If people want to follow you or find out what you're up to next, maybe the exciting Christmas announcement that you're doing, I don't know.
I've done a Mogs. I've got 3 things in the pipeline, actually. I've done Mogs Christmas special, which is the animated cat series. I've also got a prison drama coming out on Apple TV called The Wanted Man, which is that I shot last year with Hugh Laurie, which is going to be excellent. And I've also got a rom-com coming out on Channel 4 called Break Clause. So these were all shot last year, and they're coming out.
Nice. Sounds amazing. Well, thank you again.
There's talk of the Fast Show touring again next year.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be watching that. Thank you.
Pleasure.